Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. Today we have with us a special guest, Stacey Hall. Stacey is the founder of Success with Stacey Hall, has taken 5 books to the #1 bestseller status in multiple countries. She's known for her myth-busting social media marketing training program, Go for Yes, which has helped thousands of people attract more sales, satisfaction, and success. She is an acclaimed speaker who has gained recognition for her TEDx talk. Her mission is to help salespeople attract and connect to their ideal audience, solve their ideal audience's problems, leave a legacy that lives on long after they are gone. Welcome to the show, Stacey. It is really my honor to have you here.
I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. I love your show and I'm excited to be in your studio.
Oh, um, I just for full transparency, I met Stacey because I went through a course that she put together. It's how to get selected as a TEDx presenter in 3 easy steps. And it was it was a really it wasn't a really long, in-depth course, but man, so many great nuggets in there about how to put a presentation together. I think the biggest single thing that I got out of the whole course was one big idea. And that's just like life-changing.
Well, and that's what it was designed to do. So if you got it, yay. No, I don't believe in dragging things out. I believe in getting to the point. And now that's exactly what that course is all about is in when you're preparing for a TED or a TEDx talk, it is a very short amount of time. And in that amount of time, we must be able to present an idea that the vast majority of people believe is worth hearing and glad that you shared it. So that means taking a lot of information and synthesize. I've got my braces in, synthesize all the way down to the nugget. And when we're at the nugget, that's truth. And usually truth opens up the mind. And I'm going to say thank you. If you really gave yourself to the course, you got your big idea. I love it.
I did get my big idea. And I know that you did a TEDx talk, and I did listen to your TEDx talk actually a couple of times because I really loved your whole big idea about not shooting on yourself. And it's 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 memorable. It's one of those things that I find myself when I'm saying I should do something. Oh no, Stacey says I don't have to.
Do not brush that off your shoulder. Exactly. And today, most people probably hearing that go, well, that's not a new idea. Well, no, not today, it isn't, because that TEDx talk has gone all around the world. And I've noticed there's tons of blog articles now. I'm sure there's probably a book or two, some out there where it's all about that. There's tons of posts. But when I gave that presentation, nobody was talking about that. And that was an idea we're sharing because it's culturally embedded in our minds, not so much in our brains, but in our minds, that we automatically say that. And if you watch any kind of media, you're going to hear that word come up all the time. And in my opinion, it is the most self-debilitating word that has ever been created.
I have to agree with you. It stops you from allowing your creativity to flow because suddenly you're locked in this channel and you have to go in that direction. You don't have any other options. It closes off your other options that eh, you just might come up with. It might be a really good idea. It might be a better idea than the should thing that you're being locked into.
Yeah. And because we resist as adults, the minute we don't have to listen to someone else telling us what we should do, when we do it to ourselves and we don't want to do it, it freezes us.
Mhm.
And it creates that procrastination perfectionism. Like, why am I not getting? I know I should. Why am I not? Right? Well, maybe it's because I'm a procrastinator. Oh, no, maybe it's because I'm a perfectionist. Oh, no, it's because we said we should. So I always say throw the shoulds out and look at, and by the way, there's cousins to should, which is have to, right?
Mm.
So the way we look at it is, do I choose to do it? And the minute I say I do choose to do it, gives us back our power and we're no longer victim to it. And then if we don't choose to do it, then say that. No, I do not choose to do this. I will not do this. In business, if it's something that is required for a business to grow, I say, then choose to give it to someone else to do. And
Do
if
not.
you say to yourself, you don't have the money to give it to someone else, then the choice becomes, can you choose to do it for a while if you really want that business to grow? Or can you choose to do something else rather than growing your business, right? So it always comes back to the minute we hear the should in the head, do I choose to do it? Do I choose not to do it? And then that gets us continuously moving forward.
I love that. It reminds me of moving towards something rather than away from
Yeah,
something. Like
exactly.
I I chose to quit consuming alcohol, but I framed it to myself as I'm embracing sobriety. And there are
Yes.
so many other options as in that camp for me. And it's not and not everybody has to do this sort of thing. It's an example of moving towards something rather than I should quit drinking, because I should have to quit drinking like lots of times in my life. But when I just decided, oh, no, I think I'm just going to embrace sobriety for a while, the should wasn't part of the conversation.
No, lives in a whole nother world.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what you just demonstrated so beautifully. You chose to embrace sobriety.
right.
It produces many other activities than the other. I've always been sober. I'll just say that I realized that my lots of congestion I had had for years.
Mhm.
My husband kept saying to me, you should go on a gluten-free diet. You should go on, and there was this, I didn't realize what I was resisting was the actual should part of it.
Mhm.
But one day I sat down and I started thinking about, okay, what would that look like to go on a gluten-free diet? And once I had the information, I said, okay, I'm going to choose to go on. And I choose every day. For me, this is my one day at a time. And
Mhm.
I've been doing it for 19 years, one day at a time, because I like the way I feel when I stick to a gluten-free diet. That I
Yeah.
would never have, like, if I had said, okay, yeah, you're right, I should, it would never have happened.
Or you try it for a couple of days and then you're like, yeah, no, I shouldn't. Because the
Yeah,
other side of that is, no, I shouldn't.
yeah,
This isn't working for me. I'm like constantly thinking about it all the time because it's like you're denying yourself. And the minute you start denying yourself something, that's all your brain is going to think about is, how can I
right.
get it? I'm going to trick
Yes,
her. Let it happen.
yes,
But when
absolutely.
you
I 100% agree with you.
when you make a choice, it's like you can choose the other options because there's lots of other options out there. And it allows you, when you start making choices, it also opens up the opportunity for new choices to be made along that path, that the choice that you made opened up for you. Like you chose to go gluten free. So now you can look at the choices of what you can pick that are all in that camp versus the I can have anything I want camp. And so you're like, is it gluten free? Is it not gluten free? It's just like it's so much more chaos out there when you have all of these options rather than picking to narrow it down to being more focused. It goes back to your one big idea,
Yeah, that's
you know?
there it is. Choose That's all there is. Just choice. I didn't say that right, but just make a choice is what I meant to say. So yes, that's
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah. And from that one choice, other choices open up and it expands and it suddenly becomes like all encompassing and it's kind of fun, really.
Oh, it really is. I mean, you said it
It's what it
perfectly. I'm okay. So another way, if we're going to stay on this
is.
topic,
Mhm,
I had gotten to the point where I was not expecting to get married.
mhm,
True story. I was 33 and I had, a fabulous corporate job life, traveled everywhere on their dime, ate at all the best places, went to all the best things.
mhm.
And then all my friends were getting married and having kids, and I was not. And so I had a pity party for a little bit of time. But it's actually how I came to understand the should versus the choice. I didn't do the TEDx talk till years later, but it was in this experience where I said to myself, you're pitying yourself for all the things you cannot do because you're not in a relationship. What if you took the other side of it? Just like you just said,
Mhm.
what can I do because I'm not in a relationship? I don't have to consider someone else in the equation. And I made a list of all the things I could choose to do as a single woman.
Mhm.
And one of them was travel on my own, like not just with the company, but why not take my money and go traveling while I'm free and have active and, can have fun and all of that? That's exactly what I did. I met my husband while I was traveling.
Yeah.
Not, I didn't do it to meet a husband. I had accepted that I might not ever have that kind of relationship. So, what am I going to create my life to be? The best single life I could have. And I was really enjoying it. I gave it up. It was a hard one, the choice, because it wasn't a should. It wasn't, oh, yeah, now I should get married. It was, no, do I choose to get married because I am having so much fun being single?
And that choice is probably a really good choice because you had to give up a lot in order to embrace a different path in your life, which, it opens up other things that are really amazing too. But
Yes.
but you have to make a decision. It's not like you're just like automatically, okay, now I'm going to get married and now I'm going to have kids and now I'm going to be a grandma and now I'm going to sit on the couch and die. Because that's the path that if you don't make decisions, most people go down.
I would say many people do still, but there was a time when that was probably true of most folks.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing more and more people making choices because the world, when the world was stagnant, pretty much this is the way it was. The world upturns and now it's like, now what? Well, okay, I guess, it's we either accept it and go, okay, with the freedom, what am I going to do with the freedom? Or I can sit down and cry for the past.
Yeah. I choose the latter, and my people are like they're out there doing stuff. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah,
It's like the world began today. Let's seize it.
I love that. Absolutely. Yes.
I have a client who's in her 80s and she is just like, I got to get this done. I got to get this done today because I don't know if I've got tomorrow, and I have a message and it's got to get out there, and it's just like so
Well,
great.
that was me at the age of 60. I'm
Mhm.
66, by the way. And there was a day, so all my business up to that point was created person to person, belly to belly, in person, right? I'm there. First off, Zoom was nowhere near as easy and reliable as it is now.
Right.
There were other services, but they were clunky. Social media was around 6 years ago, and coming into being comfortable for most people, right? Prior to that, it was uncomfortable, and I was on it when it was uncomfortable for people. But it was still, for me, easier for a period of time to just keep doing the in-person networking than the let's meet for coffee chats in person. And one day, as I was pulling my briefcase full of my business cards and my brochures and all the stuff that I used to take with me,
Mhm.
my body went, "You're not doing this anymore." Not that I felt old. I was just tired of lugging. It's like, we're not lugging anymore. It's enough. We're not giving up breakfast. We're going to start walking the dogs in the morning, right? With your husband. This is what we're going to choose to do, Stacey. Which meant choosing to embrace social media for business like I never had before, and getting training on how to do that. Because I thought I knew. I wound up in Facebook jail 6 times in 5 months. True story. I believe that if I had done it again, they probably would have kicked me off at that point. I mean, that's when Facebook was a little more generous with things. Um, but I wasn't going to give them another chance. So I went and got training right at the age of 60. And now I've won awards for social media marketing. I'm able to teach my clients how to do both in-person and social media marketing and selling. The best thing that ever happened to me was saying, not I'm getting old and I choose to do something to keep going so I don't get old.
And you said something else there. I'm 64, so we're kind of in the same like tier, and in terms of it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to hire people to teach you how to do things. And it doesn't matter if they're a lot younger than you. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to my kids and said, "Hey, I don't get this." And they're like, "Oh, just do this." It's like, well, okay. But hiring help to show you how to take the next step or how to do the things that you're trying to accomplish. Everybody's here for a reason. We all have something great to contribute.
Right.
Get help figuring out how to make what your thing is really shine.
Yeah, I 100%. And I will say that while I didn't have children, my husband has children. They're not in the world for the most part of social media. So I'm quite envious of those of you who have built-in help in your children. Because yeah, they know how to do all of it, right? And more. So
I
congratulations.
I ended up having kids over a 21-year period. So I have like a 20-year-old and I have a 40-year-old and 3 kids in between. But eh, their take on things is like so different. The 40-year-olds versus the 20-year-olds.
Really?
It's like
Oh,
it's
I didn't
interesting.
feel like there was that much change in that 20-year period. But I see what I don't
It's
know.
it's pretty it's pretty dramatic. I mean, the different from this vantage point, the difference in their development is like, and the way that they interact on social media or with in person it's really different. And it's to me, from a sociological point of view, it's interesting to see.
Oh, yeah, I bet it is. I'm fascinated by things like that too.
Right. Not that anything is good or bad, it's just the way that it is,
Yeah,
which
just an
is interesting.
experience.
It's just an experience. Did you get your start in network marketing, or was it
No. No,
how did
I
you get
love
into all of
network
this?
marketing, but no, I just not. And I say that because I was one of those who was like, oh, no. Because I've been around long enough to remember when
Amway.
it had earned the reputation it had had, right? And I am so grateful that the industry itself grew up But that also, this is one of those things when the world changed, the younger generations from me said, we're not going in the traditional path. So how can I get a business going when I have no money, right? There it was, network marketing. And they have made it something that is accessible to all. And I am so thrilled and I am so proud. In fact, I'm a columnist for the Network Marketing Magazine, which publishes every month. So plug for that. I'm very grateful. No, I resisted it for a very long time. My world, I started in the corporate world, doing marketing primarily for ad agency. I was in an ad agency for 5 years in Chicago. I was an account executive. I went from there to manage marketing for Budget Rent-A-Car Corporation for the United States and Canada, and also enjoyed teaching our franchisees how to do their own marketing locally. And by doing that, I came to the attention of Federal Express, now FedEx, back then Federal Express. And I did that for the company in a 17 state region. So actually taking what they were doing corporate wide and bringing it into the very local markets and working with the sales and the operations people there. So I had a lot of grounding in true sales, which I always put after marketing. So it's not sales and marketing, it's marketing and sales. And then I had the opportunity to teach classes for the Small Business Development Center. And I was appalled at what they were trying to teach insurance agents and realtors and spa owners and network marketers. Like, you only need this if you need to go get money for a business plan. Why are we teaching? You're teaching them how to get money if they need money, okay, but what about all the other stuff? What you're teaching is going to make them bankrupt if they do this. And I was complaining about this. I have always had a coach or a mentor. I was complaining to my coach at the time. She said, okay, Stacey, what would you do instead? And I said, blah, 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 blah. And she said, well, then why don't you? Why don't you become a consultant to entrepreneurs of all different types? Because she said, what you just said, every one of my clients could use you. So she helped me craft a 6-month exit plan from my job. And more than 25 years ago, that's what I did. I went out on my own and I've never looked back. And I'm grateful that I knew, right? You know, I had a guidance. This is what I was supposed to be doing. This is my passion. 5 books later, TEDx talk later, here I am still doing it, loving it, and absolutely adore my clients.
That is awesome. What a great story.
Well,
And
thank you.
what a great way to get into doing what you're really meant to do. Because I think when we find the thing that lights us up, then it's not really work.
Mm-mm.
It's just sharing the message. Hey, did you know about this? And doing it in a way that that the people that are looking for you, I think you have somewhere on your website about turning people from being spotlights into lighthouses.
Searchlights into lighthouses.
Searchlight.
Yeah, that's the lighthouses here. Most people who are doing marketing and sales are exhausted, they're burnt out, they're bent out of shape because they're looking for people because and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's the training they've been given. It's the cultural approach to what selling means. And you had said earlier, it's just when we were chatting, it's just making an offer. Yes, but making a suggestion or an offer to who or whom, that's the question.
It's an offer
And
and an audience.
yeah, and the bridge is alignment. And that's what selling from your comfort zone is, a process of getting into alignment with yourself, with what you're selling, with that ideal audience, and with what you're saying to that audience. And when you have that alignment, you are truly standing tall. You know what you stand on, you know what you stand for, and your messaging is like a brilliant light because it's put where the right people are going to see it. And then they come to you and they say, hey, I want more of those tips. And people who want more of those tips are the people we make offers and suggestions to.
I love that. I'm in my mind, I have this picture of McDonald's and the whole, if I offered you a McDonald's franchise, would you say yes? And it um but you really, the answer should be not necessarily where is it located, because where it's located, the audience that you're speaking to, and are you in alignment with them, like you were saying, is the most important factor. It's
Yes. Yes. Well, if you can afford to buy a McDonald's franchise, I would say yes, you choose which location would be most in alignment with you. Coming back to, you asked me about network marketers. It doesn't require very much money to start a business. In some companies, it doesn't require anything. You get a referral link for free and just go sell. But who are you selling to? And what are you selling? Because the marketing is the presentation of the products. That's true. But nobody needs us to show them the pretty products. They can Google that. You name the name of the company, they'll go Google it. They'll go look for all the negative stuff. They'll look for customer reviews, but they'll get hooked on the negativity comments, which is why we don't want to be showing pretty products. We want to be talking about solutions to problems. And we will only be authentic when we're talking about the solutions these products made to our own problems. And the folks who are doing that are succeeding in network marketing. That there is a statistic that about only 3%, this is true, only 3% of all network marketers worldwide make more than $200 a year. Not a month, a year. It's not because of a shortage of audience. It's because of a shortage of audience who wants to see the pretty products. And the only reason they want to see what you're talking about is so they can go figure out if they know somebody else who's selling it that they trust more, right? So that's what they'll do. They'll go, let me go find an influencer who's selling this, who's got, more knowledge about this. Anyways, you could say I can go on a long time for this. So being in alignment with ourselves, being in alignment with what we're selling, being in alignment with the audience, being in alignment with our content, then what happens is we build confidence in ourselves. And when we're confident, then we're consistent in our marketing efforts. And that's the only reason that some people are more trusted than others, is they're consistent. They show up every day. They respond to comments. They say thank you to people versus, and this isn't just true in network marketing, this is true in every entrepreneurial business. It happens to me on LinkedIn all day long. I get a connection request. I write the person back and I say, thanks for your connection request. What was it about my profile you liked? I either get a canned pitch, right? A copy and paste that does not answer my question, just puts their stuff in front of me, or I get nothing. Why did you bother to send me the connection request in the first place if you're not going to check back to see if I responded to you? I'm going on a little bit, but these are my pet peeves, and I want the audience to understand there's so much that goes into becoming a trustworthy resource, which is really what a salesperson is meant to be, a trustworthy resource.
And if you're going to get in DMs with people, have a human to human conversation. It's not, and ask about them. First, ask about them and be curious. And, not just like one question, find out about them, find out what their problems are before you even know if you can solve any of their problems. Because, you can't solve everybody's problems. Hard thing to swallow sometimes, especially if you think you can. Really, you're going to be good at solving a couple of problems. We're all good at a couple of things, really good at a couple of things. The rest of it, not so much.
Yeah, like, and just to put a fine point on it, just because I can read about something and feel like I've got book learning smarts, that does not translate into selling. The only problems we can solve are the ones we've had firsthand experience solving. Either it was a problem our child had, or a family member had, or we had it. That's it. That's what we're saying here is if you haven't had firsthand experience, we don't care what science says. We don't care about the websites where you found information. We only care what did it do for you personally. Now I can trust you.
Okay, so this circles all the way back to where we started with you helping people do TEDx talks, presentations. And it's all about the story. People only care about stories. People only remember stories. They're not going to remember your website. They're not going to remember your whatever's out there. The
Right.
statistics, you need statistics for one side of your brain or the other, but very minimal because you're not going to remember them. But what you are going to remember is the stories that were told. And people will hang on to that. It's where the magic happens. And
Yes.
having the one big idea and constantly be drawing everything back to your one big idea.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So back where we are, uh, I know that some people think that speaking is the biggest fear that they have, even before they get to the one big idea. So my gift to your listeners is that how to get over the fear of public speaking. And if they want more information about TED or TEDx, and they are two different things, they are connected by TED. A TED talk would be given by somebody who's already got a huge audience or is the head of a large organization, research institute. That's what TED got created to bring those voices out to the public, out of the boardrooms and out to the public. TEDx is still sponsored by TED. It gives regional voices, local and regional voices, a chance to be heard and seen. And if you go to the TED.com website, you'll see the distinction between the two. And so I'm a TEDx presenter. I'm preparing a presentation for TED, keeping the vision alive for that. At the very least, I will do more TEDx talks based on selling from your comfort zone and why no matter whether you're selling or not, we don't ever want to get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, it's nice there. And you're more helpful there because
Yes.
you can speak with authority when you're comfortable. When you're shaking in your boots, you're not going to come across as an authoritative figure. People
Right.
just don't trust you. So, the gift that you're offering is how to speak, or how to get past the fear of public speaking. And it's an
Yes,
ebook, and we will have the link for that in the show notes for people to take you up on that. Stacey,
marvelous.
it has been so fascinating chatting with you today.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed this. So do you want to share the one thing you hope the audience will take away from this conversation? We've covered so
Yes.
much ground.
And that, well, we've covered so many topics. To me, alignment, so I'm going to tie everything together. The one big idea, okay? The concept of alignment and the concept of choice. That's the big idea, is always choose what is in alignment with you to do, whether it's have chicken or fish for dinner, or looking at a career choice, looking at a romantic partner choice. Always choose and release the should. And when you choose, you'll know what you're in alignment with.
I love that. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.